Today we're going to do a Game & Watch test, which is basically a set of handheld games that were released by Nintendo, but this emulator covers games that were made by other companies as well. And these games came out in the 1980s. I had quite a few of these when I was a kid. And we're just going to try a few random games and get a little gist of the mechanics. We'll start out with a VTech game called Baseball. And generally, the controls could be like pulled up by tap and start. It'll show you what the controls are. So I have to turn the game on basically by pushing L1 on my controller. And I can move left or right. I can choose between game A and B. And game B is normally a little more difficult. This one, obviously, the mechanics are simply hit the baseballs. And I missed the baseball. So, next game, here we go. I'm not going to spend too much time in any of these, particularly because I'd like to show you quite a few in this video. So we'll try Donkey Kong Jr. Nintendo with the Panamera screen. Or Panamera screen. Push and select to start. And it's looking like I have to get the key and unlock the chains that are keeping Mario captive. This one's playing and controlling pretty well. I think I may or may not have owned this when I was younger. Seems pretty familiar to me. So it's looking like I have to ride the umbrellas and maybe step on top of the balloons. Let's see. Well, got taken out by the bird. We'll try it one more time on this one. Okay, well, we'll move to the next one, but this one looks like it'd be fun to play a little bit more. And they actually made a Tron game. So I got a kick out of that. So we'll try the Tron one next. Tron by Tommytronic, or Tomytronic. Pushing L1 to start the game. Or powered on. So it's got the light cycles, which is kind of cool. Now if you played Atari 2600, there's a game on there called Surround, which is quite a bit like this. Then you have the game called Snake, which was on mobile phones. This one ain't too bad. Let's get this little bastard. Well, you got me. So it looks like there's a shooting button as well and a speed button. So I'm kind of wondering if there's a second game after the light cycles, if you pass that stage. But we're going to leave that for you guys to try out and experience on your own. We'll try a few more games. We have Loopy Tennis. We'll try that for a second. So it looks like I'm Snoopy and I just have to hit the tennis balls back. Pretty standard. Okay, we'll try another one. There's one on here that I think I'd play it a bit more because it does have very interesting mechanics and it's a well-known license. And I'll save that for last, though. I'm going to try one called Monkey, and I'm almost certain I own this one. It's very familiar to me. You're basically at the top of coconut-style trees, and you have to bat the monkeys down. Don't let them get up. So you're basically bashing monkeys in the head. What a great game for kids to have. So one of the draws for games like this, as well as Atari, it's just the scoring thing. I mean, if you have a friend or family member by, you can see how high of a score you could get, and then you can pass the controller to them and let them try to beat your score. That's the addictive nature of old school games, the whole scoring properties of it. One called Las Vegas. Made by Bandai. And it's a Kaboom style game where I just have to catch the coins that are flying out of the slot machines. Kaboom on Atari 2600 is quite a bit like this. Now we're going to go to a couple of the more impressive games on here to me. And you'd probably played a Game & Watch that have been on Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, etc. And I'm going to do one or two of those. Parachute. So we got Parachute. Now we're going to try out the final one that I really enjoyed, and I'm going to try to learn a little bit more about how to beat this one, if it's even beatable, but it's Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons computer fantasy game by Mattel Electronics. This is the most complicated out of all of the games that I've seen. So I'm going to the controls. I can move, attack, rotate, move left, right, up, and down. So I can change the direction I want to move. I can move. And now I'm going to have to do a little research online to kind of find out truly what is basically what you have to do in this game to beat it. But it looks like a little bit of thought was actually put into this game. I'm not quite sure what everything means, but I'm definitely going to do my research and get more into this one. Okay. And one thing I can say is this is better than the Dungeons and Dragons games that have been on Nintendo. Them were pretty awful. And I have an attack button, but I'm not quite sure how I would use the attack button in this game. Seems like I did something positive because it made like a positive musical type noise. It seems if I'm going in one direction, it's changing like the floor levels. Maybe it's possible that I actually had to get a weapon in order to attack an enemy. I mean, that's just my assumption at this point because I've not played this before. I briefly tested this out years ago, but just for a second. This is literally my very first time playing this, so I'm definitely experiencing it as you guys are for the first time too, if you never played this before. But anyways, this is the Game & Watch. I'm going to post the core, and hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I want to definitely get more involved in this Dungeons & Dragons game and see what it's all about, and try a few more of the other games. But enjoy the games. There'll be more videos posted soon.